In 1948, a man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, slumped against a seawall and dressed in a suit and tie. 7 decades later, his identity and how he died remains a mystery. But one of Australia's most baffling cases could be one step closer to being solved after the Somerton man's body was exhumed and his remains taken away for fresh DNA testing.
The Somerton Man's not just a curiosity or a mystery to be solved. It's somebody's father, son. There are people we know that live in Adelaide who believe they may be related, and they deserve to have a definitive answer.
What makes the case so compelling is the trail of clues which could lead back to the killer. First, there's the suitcase. It turned up a month after the Somerton man's body was discovered at the cloakroom of the Adelaide railway station. It was checked in the day before he was found, and police believe it belonged to him. The suitcase contained a strange mix of items, including the name Keane written on several items, and wax thread, which matched the type used to repair his trousers, but not a brand sold in Australia. Then there's the poem. Months later, a pathologist found a scrap of paper in his pocket which said "Tamam shud," meaning it is finished in Persian. After a public appeal, a man came forward with a poetry book discarded in a car near the body. In it was a hole fitting the scrap of paper exactly. That's not all they found. In the back of that book, they discovered a telephone number which belonged to a Jessica or Justin Thomas. She denied knowing him, but later appeared as if she might faint when she saw a plaster impression of the man. And some suggest they had a child together, and surviving photos of the child do show striking similarities. More curiously, the book also contained a series of letters suspected to be a code, revealed under ultraviolet light, prompting theories the Somerton man was a Cold War spy. And bizarrely, a researcher discovered another man in Australia died with the same poetry book close by, and there were only 5 copies of that particular edition. And that further fuels speculation it could have been spy gear, such as a code book, but those letters have never been cracked. Well, now hope lies in DNA to bring closure to one of Australia's most enduring mysteries. Well, Dr. Lindsay Wilson-Wild is the Director of Forensic Science SA and has oversight of this investigation. She joins us now. Thank you so much for being with us, Lindsay. So where is Somerton Man now, and when will you start trying to extract DNA from him?
Obviously, FSSA has Somerton Man here. We're looking after him. We still need to go through and review the remains and examine them fully before we can decide, along with South Australia Police, what the next steps might be.
OK, so the remains have been in the ground for a long time, haven't they, Lindsay? 70 years. Is it likely that you will be able to extract DNA?
We're confident that we can extract some DNA. Obviously, there are no guarantees on this. We haven't finished the examination of the remains, so we really don't know at this point. But we are confident that our techniques that are available to us should be sufficient.
And where's it likely you'll get that DNA from?
We don't really know at this stage. We obviously will have to have a look at things or items where the DNA is more likely to survive, such as bones and teeth are probably where we might target first, but we don't know until we've examined the remains.
OK. And is there a minimum amount of DNA you need in order to analyse it? And does it also have to be of a minimum quality to be useful?
Both of those things are true. We do need sufficient DNA. It is a very small amount. Techniques these days have come along massively. They're very sensitive, so it's a very small amount of DNA that's required. The DNA does have to be in good quality, and therefore we need to look at areas on the remains where the DNA might be protected a little bit more, and that's why we target things like bones and teeth.
Right. And what information can you get from DNA?
We can get the genetic code of the individual, and then we can look at markers on that code to look for potentially identity or to look for potential relatives of the individual.
OK. And how do you proceed once you have a DNA profile to try and identify him?
Once we've got a DNA profile, then we'll need to compare, utilise databases. It depends on what type of techniques we're looking at doing. Obviously, we'll research as many of the databases as we can. Those are available to us to identify this individual.
OK, Dr. Lindsay Wilson-Wiles, best of luck with it all. It's fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you very much.